We do want to remind the audience that we want to hear from you. If you have a comment, if you have a question for one of our panelists, Tram Mai is standing right there over to your left, and she'll just raise her hand and we'll get right to you. But Mayor Wheatley, I do want to ask you, what kind of policies can we expect to see change in your town? I mean, we've seen other cities implement things like curfews or, more policing at group gatherings. Are there changes being made?
Absolutely, and there's a couple points I want to hit on as well, but having additional police presence is important. We have a very young population, very young families in our communities, and so we know where they like to go and hang out, and so having just that police presence. So when you drive around in our Queen Creek area, you will see a heightened presence of law enforcement to make sure that our children are safe. That is one thing I hear is, I want to know when I take my kids here, they're going to be safe. And so increasing that is important. I also wanted to touch on where I love that you talked about community, and we're only going to solve this coming together as a community. A huge aspect of the community is our youth. We need to hear from our youth. So I love everyone that's here. I want to encourage to have these conversations with our youth. I think about your comments, and sir, when I heard your story, and I got on the phone with our chief of police, and I said, I want to meet with all of our school resource officers. I want to meet with our superintendents. I want to meet with our charter school leadership. That isn't going to happen in Queen Creek, where a student steps up, they do the brave thing, and they make those tips. And if they don't have a voice, if they don't feel heard, they're not going to do that again. And so we have to ensure our youth have a voice. We have to ensure that when they bring that information forward, that it's investigated and it is top priority, and they recognize it's top priority, because we're going to learn from them. We cannot figure this out alone. We cannot figure it out without our youth, and that's so important to me. One of the things to what your previous question, one of the things that that's been a priority for me is starting the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. And I'm a new mayor, just 1 year in, and that's been something I have made a priority. It's something we're now expediting, and to hear from our youth. It was very humbling to have this conversation with my children. So I have a teenager down to 9 years old. And I said, this is what I'm doing Monday night. From your perspective, what can we do? My 11-year-old says, Mom, you can't tell teenagers what to do. Right? Right. You can't tell teenagers what to do. You can only show them by example. He's 11, so to the point that was made, we have to be that example. It's very humbling.
Which makes the comments that Tram got, that how agitated people get on Facebook, insulting and threatening each other, and these are professionals in our community.
Adults.
You're right, Mayor. We do have to lead the way and be the shining example of what to do, and more importantly, what not to do.
They're watching us.
They are. They are. Mayor.
And parenting. I mean, what is the responsibility of parents in all of this? Because I'll be honest, when I saw some of the videos coming out of some of the attacks, my first thought was, where are the parents? Are they disciplining their kids? Why do they not know that they're hanging out at, 1 a.m.? What is the responsibility of parents?
I mean, it's a huge responsibility, and, supervising and monitoring social media will tell you everything you want to know about your child. I speak weekly, daily sometimes about the impact of social media, and that there's no mystery to your kid's life. You can have Life 360, you can know that they're in and out, but if you really want to know what your kid is up to, it's all on their phone. And there are ways to open that conversation with your child and continue those open conversations so that you're not digging through things.
Right.
We have
Teens aren't very forthcoming. You feel like it's an interrogation half the time, right? You're interrogating them. So how do you get them to start opening up about these things? They're embarrassed.
The conversations start at 9, 10, 11 about big topics. bodies are changing and bullying's happen, and some stranger came into my Fortnite chat and that kind of weirded me out. What should I do?
Right.
If I were just to very boldly name the theme of the parents in this whole thing, and some of them are my friends and some of them are my neighbors, they were asleep at the wheel. Some of these kids are really good kids, pulling a 3.8 and on a sports team and pulling a job. But on Friday and Saturday nights, they're beating the crap out of people at various places around the valley. And all of it, I found it on their very public TikTok platforms.
Katie, something that we've seen in our school that has actually led to a change is, and you just hit on it, students are watching. They are watching us, but they are really watching each other. And so when you intentionally create a space for them to talk to each other, to share their hurts, to share their failures, but most importantly, to talk about their successes, to talk about their resilience, to talk about how they got over something, and hey, this hurt, and I learned that. Very wise man this weekend, Ashley Wooldridge, said to 1,000 people in the Valley, wisdom is caught, not taught. And so when you put students intentionally and frequently in the room with other students, like the ones that we have here today, that are calling for change, that are advocating for nonviolence, that are fighting for peace, and they start to listen to each other, those are the things that enact lasting change.
Yeah.
We can talk all day as a principal, as a parent, in one ear, out of the other.
Kristen, thank you.